When Coco Chanel spoke the words, "Fashion passes, style remains," she couldn't have known how relevant it would be 50 years on. With every season, we see more colors, collections, and styles than ever before. But while fashion moves faster and faster, the concept of clothing hasn't changed much in over 100 years. Textiles still cover bodies and signify social code. Fabrics are still sewn with needles and sold in stores. Maybe it doesn't make sense to disrupt a $1.7 trillion industry. But shouldn't there be something more progressive than design and style changes? Shouldn't there be innovation that alters the entire concept of clothing? This is a film about the people behind the scenes who are working to shape the next big step in clothing history.
Okay, as you know, Madura Fashion and Lifestyle is in the business of brands, and among all the marketing mix elements of brands between product, price, place, and distribution and promotion, it is undoubtedly product that plays the largest role in our industry. PDQAT team handles two dimensions of product quality largely. One is quality, and the other is innovation through product development. I think therefore PDQAT team is fundamental to the sustained success of our brands, and the expectation is that you maintain and continuously improve high quality of standards in our brands, as well as drive new innovations, offer solutions to brands that helps brands create and launch new innovations. One of the expectations that has been met is, I think we have a alive operational framework to both drive quality as well as product. It's very important that we have clear benchmarks. So therefore, I would say one of the areas that I'm not as clear about is what should we say the quality target for Louis Philippe based on which benchmark brands, and what benchmarking exercise. And basis that, how should we have a even more structured approach to transforming a quality from a current level to the future level. Improving and sustaining quality is at the heart of doing great brand management within the brands. So therefore, how do we take this to the next level is a conversation that we rarely have. Other areas similarly on innovation is, what's a product development and innovation program that our company and brand should have for the next 3 to 5 years, as opposed to moving from season to season, which sometimes is too short a time frame. But how about sitting today and planning for what Louis Philippe's program on big ideas should be for the next 3 to 5 years? What are the areas to invest in? What are the big trends that a brand like Louis Philippe or Allen Solly or any of our brands will need to incorporate, and therefore how should the company as well as the brands look at those things? The real big audacious goals both on quality as well as innovation. I think the business challenges will revolve around continuous customer acquisition. It will revolve around how as an organization we'll enable ourselves in dealing with a fast digitizing world in the omnichannel environment. I think one of the silent weapons of our brands and our company is the quality system. I'm sure when you talk to a cross section of people, a lot of us will also feel for that. I think that's one of the things as a company we've done well over the last, particularly the product development piece and KMC and the innovation side of the PDQA team has a large responsibility of coming up with concepts that can be quite clutter breaking and working very closely with brands to chase the kind of ideas that aren't par for the course, that aren't business as usual. It's very important that we step back, conceptualize, look at how to commercialize, go for a very big, hairy, audacious goal. Do not be incremental. Go for something really big. Go for something that will excite all the brands.
provide the very differentiated cutting edge to the. So our ability to offer innovative products, our ability to offer products which are very ahead of their time will become very key to any brand strategy. And specifically for Peter England brand, which is a premium brand which appeals to a large amount of consumers, it becomes even more important. Set of technologies, some set of functional benefits which are attached to a product are a new and a very contemporary fit that we are offering to a consumer. Or we are offering a very differentiated product which comes at a branch. We cater to almost 5 million consumers every year, and we sell about 12 million garments every year. It becomes even more important that we offer a very consistent quality experience we give to our consumers. I like this point that by offering innovative cutting-edge technologies, by offering a very consistent quality experience, and by offering products which come bundled with lots of functional benefits, with lots of fashion benefits and price benefits, is what is the real expectation. In terms of innovations, there are a lot of work which has happened, and lots of concepts are being presented to brands in their KMC Innovation Day. So that itself is a very good process where KMC keeps working, keep bringing international technology, keep bringing new garmenting, keep bringing new washes, keep bringing new trims, and put it together in form of a show to the brands. Lots of ideas are thrown at brands, and brands are challenged in terms of picking the right ones for them, which fits into their brand architecture, which fits into their product hierarchy, which brings into their price equation. Brand really wanted to work on concepts which are not only having functional benefits or having fashion elements into it, but we also wanted to work on concepts which were very sustainable in nature. We are talking about upliftment of society. We are talking about helping some villages, at the same time giving a very functionally robust. And the third layer is that, which is at a very emotional level, that it's very patriotic concept. So consumers will be able to relate to this concept because it goes back with our independence. It goes back to Swadeshi concept. As far as QA part is concerned, lots of processes have been improved in last 1 year or so. Lots of resourcing has happened on QA side, whether they are on-field QAs or there is a HO structure which is monitoring and putting processes behind it. So quality is consistently improving. In terms of tech support also, we have got a lot of support in terms of new garment styling, lots of trim attachments. So we kind of worked on a 3C collar shirt where we are offering 3 kind of collars which a consumer can detach. Appetite for innovation is going to increase as we go forward. Not only expect PD to give us something which is first in India, we want them to offer something which is first globally. I believe PD has scope to offer some cutting-edge global innovations. Wearable technology is something which Peter England as a brand is very bullish on, and unfortunately not too many concepts related to WT has been offered to brands. So our expectation is that PT will go beyond India, or will go to some of the cutting-edge international companies where they may be based in US, or they may be based in Europe, or maybe China, and bring those technologies to India and offer it to the brand. The thing is that some of the concepts are very technical in nature. So I would expect PD to bring in always a layer of an emotional, layer which how consumers will interpret that product. So if some kind of more marketing acumen is being built into the PD team, if brand and PD come together and discuss a plan where lots of consumer insights are being shared, if you can give a customer story as well, that look, these are
it's also same time.
Little bit of market intelligence, little bit of eyes and ears around competition, little bit of consumer insights being offer something which has something in it. It could be a functional benefit, it could be a price benefit, it could be a technical benefit, it could be some fit related benefit. That benefit, how do we translate into consumer language? Because some of the words are technical, some jargons are being used. So if you simplify it from a consumer's angle, brands will be able to understand it and pick it in a. If brand has and brand and PD has come together and identified a couple of concepts for a season, then we have to really crash timelines. If brand is doing a distributor meet, for example, if brand is doing a retail meet or employee meet, PD must be part of this. So people are becoming more and more curious about products, how products are in the market. So consumer becoming more knowledgeable is a challenge as well as an opportunity. And India is generally 6 months behind. So there is little bit of discontent which may emerge because of the expanding further will become difficult. So entire pressure will come on existing chain. That means getting more throughput from the same store. So the amount of work that we are doing around accessories is probably lesser than desired level. So it could be as small as a manicure kit, or it could be as small as getting some good line of very innovative small accessories like brochures and things like. I see our belts, ties getting stale. Not too much innovation happening around socks and hankies. I think accessorization, getting lots of new products which are currently not in line. Could be a line of luggage, could be a line of shoes, could be a line of deodorants, perfumes, etc. Will also throw a large opportunity and lots of scope of innovation, like aggression from from a point of view of taking risks. Companies like 3M, have taken a very aggressive, numbers around how much revenue should come from new product. A vision without a concrete, roadmap on improvements on existing numbers is hollow. It must be very robust. It must contain definite statements. So execution must be kept in mind when we are.
There would be 3-4 large expectations which as a stakeholder I would have from the PDQA team.
Right.
This is the function which should really enable MFL to pull apart from competition. The dimension of merchandise is about innovations, it is about expertise, is about quality.
Right.
And I think PDQA has a large role to play in that area. How does Madura become an expert in the area of merchandise? When I say expert, it is about do we have the best suppliers? Are we working on the best fabric basis? Are we working on what's latest around? The second dimension is how are we fueling innovation in this organization? The third piece is how are we developing expertise, capability internally, most cost-effective vendors, best fabric suppliers, best mills, etc., etc.
Right.
But how do we develop that expertise internally in terms of knowledge banks and material libraries, etc., etc. So that's the third piece. And fourth piece is how do we consistently keep upping the bar on quality of our product. Largely to me, it's about PD, which is about expertise, developing internal capability, innovations. From a QA point of view, it is how do we create best-in-class products, merchandise consistently.
Right.
And quality has always been our strength
Right.
in Madura over the years. But as international competition is coming in and the other companies are catching up, the differential between quality of our products of quality between competition, what it was 10 years back versus what it is today, is no longer the same.
Right.
Last couple of seasons, KMC has done an outstanding job in doing those KMC shows season after season. Kalpana as a platform, I think there's a lot of good thought behind it. We just need to see how are we able to make it a part of our culture. How will we add tangibility to that platform? KMC, TMC, I think they have been, or the Denim Development Center, they have been a great step forward. We should evaluate of how really are they adding to knowledge bank of this company. how much are people really using it. If people are not using it, why they're not using it. Otherwise, we'll just have white elephants in our system. While we might believe that we are offering everything right, but their expectations might be different. I think there has to be a marriage between expectations and what we are delivering. Right. So I personally believe TMC, KMC can be leveraged far higher than what they are, and the larger cause of that is mismatch in the expectations versus what you are delivering. But I think it's a great platform for anyone in the organization, and very few organizations really invest so deep in knowledge development. I think we need to invest more. Is 50% of our business today, especially from a Van Heusen context, comes from formal. Obviously, something like a zero detergent, which was a killer of an idea. So we require more of innovations like these for mainline or the bread and butter parts of our businesses. So, for example, not much is happening on women's wear, kids wear. Not much is happening on the core. I think there needs to be slightly more rigor in our review mechanisms, engagement mechanisms with brands of what do they want, how do we keep a track on our. If I have to say what are the large areas of work, how do we spread the knowledge and how do we leverage our assets like KMC, TMC more effectively and build expertise capability internally. The second is how do we get more innovations going in, say, a women's wear or the mainline part of our businesses. And third is how do we bring in more rigor in reviews and engagement piece. I think the challenges for brands will be how do we create points of distinctiveness for each brand. Second challenge is with international competition coming in, it will only put more pressure on us to be more innovative, to offer best-in-class products, to have outstanding quality, etc., etc. Resources are becoming scarce as e-commerce is in, as more brands are coming in, international brands are coming in. E-commerce is picking up. How do we build capability, and therefore knowledge management I think would be a big challenge because the quality of resources, because the challenges of retaining people, getting good. I think that's a third big challenge which we'll have on how to. I think the time has come that we start collaborating with some of these technology providers, with mills on creating fabric basis of what we want, which are very differentiated. The second is best in class. Third is expertise / creating a wow for. So I think we have enough talent, capability in people. I think we have made great starts in terms of infrastructure and building those platforms. So by 2020, I'm sure that if we collectively work together, we'll be able to.
I would like to put on record the evolution and progress the PDQA has gone through in the last couple of years. We have almost reached a kind of international level in our processes, systems and the facilities that we have done. The second expectation is the consumer awareness, and because of international competition coming into the country, we cannot be at the levels we have been operating in terms of quality, in terms of innovation, in terms of, when I say innovation, it is that not the incremental innovation, it is that what I call very radical innovation. So we are, as of today, we can proudly say in the Indian domestic industry, we are the front runners in many things. But of course, are we completely there? I will not agree. Collaborate with international partners and set up an incubation cell. Think with them, along with them a year in advance. What is going to be the trend next year? What are the new products we can jointly develop? With their infrastructure, with their resources, can we come out with new ideas? Right now we may be adopting ideas and adopting, maybe changing a bit and making it big. What I am thinking, original innovations should be done by PD, product development team. As far as the quality function is concerned, quality control is very good, I would say quite satisfactory. The other area of opportunity is the quality assurance. We are able to find a defect, okay, we are able to weed out the defect from our bulk, but are we helping our partners, vendor partners, to overcome the problem? What are the enablers that we are creating? The quality assurance part can be a bit more, can be taken to the next level. Other is the integration of this whole function with other functions of the department. It used to be in alignment with the challenges the business is having. I think that integration can be TMC, TMC or Milbeeks, VPQA, Green Channel, customer accredited quality cells in the factories, our lab, which is where all these are met. I would like to see whether we can improve the quality assurance part. Collaborating, helping the vendors is what is an area of our product quality itself. If you take suits, if you take shirts, every shirt you produce, every suit you produce, is it the best in the industry? Can I compare it to the best brands? It is not there. I am not very happy. We are good compared to other Indian brands.
We are not the best.
But we are not the best formal shirt maker. So the challenge for us is how do we maintain consistent quality, consistent cost, and how do we innovate? To put shortly, our vision should be, as I told, to continuously innovate industry-leading products and to aim for continuous improvement in collaboration with all stakeholders.
You know, when I think about this function, I think this function needs to discharge 3-4 different kinds of roles. Sometimes it needs to act as an educator, sometimes as a facilitator, sometimes as an interpreter. The reason I say educator is because a lot of professionals with key functional competencies are in this department. Their key job is to bring the world of new products, new development, what's going around the world to our doorsteps, which I think KMC is a result of that thinking. Sometimes this function has to do a role of facilitator because quite often, as you are aware, new product development is a very collaborative work across different departments. There is sourcing, there is branding, there is PD. So therefore, this function needs to facilitate so that a new idea comes to life in a meaningful manner. The other thing which sometimes needs to happen, perhaps a little more, is the role of an interpreter. Quite often our thinking is very business. We are also trying to develop a thinking from a consumer insight. To interpret that into a new product area and to sort of cast it into a new product requirement, which is largely the brief, PDQA can do little more in terms of being the interpreter. I think a lot more needs to happen in terms of interpreting well what is our language, our problem, our objectives. And a sharper brief will mean a sharper execution. This department has to take the lead in some conversation. PDQA can be a very effective stakeholder if they are listening to the same things at the same time and are able to give their own interpretation with the brand teams and help brand teams make a better, more informed decision. The true collaboration will only emerge when effortlessly PDQA will take a lead in some of these initiatives. I think the vision statement or the brand purpose statement that we have, which is experimenting without fear, a PDQA can be a better interpreter. So therefore, to be a better interpreter, you need to know the language. The language is the language of business, language of brand, language of consumer. If you understand it well, you'll be able to interpret it well. You'll be able to speak my language and you'll be able to connect with your functionality, which is product, which is process, and help us create a more robust brief, which is more consumer-centric.
No, we look forward to PDQAT for anything when it comes to development and the development could be in space of product, the development could be in space of fits, and even when it comes to the market intelligence, like a competition benchmarking. So the area of PDQAT, if you see, is very, very wide. Prime expectation is get at least 1 or 2 innovative products when it comes to offering. And the first thing that comes to my mind is the way we have developed khadi this time in our range. And it would not have been possible if PDQA team and product team and design team would not have come together in a very, very strong manner. We are the only one who would be offering the true khadi in that sense, which is hand woven, hand spun. Last 6 months, my team has been working on fits of shirt. There, the fit department from PDQ has been very, very instrumental, and we have seen the result of that during our trade show. We do feel good that from PDQA we get very good support, and it's not only good support, it's timely support that really matters. I see a reduction in the calls that I get from my consumers.
Right.
So I'm sure there's a result of a robust process that PDQA is setting up, and the entire team from brand always looks forward to the innovation on the season concept that is done. That's one of the platform where we get to see really, really innovative products, and they're not just innovative. A lot of them are easily implementable in the brand. Art silk is one area where something can happen in a little faster.
Okay.
Apparel business won't be the same the way it is today. About consumer experience, it's about the quality, it's about the kind of product innovation that is happening in the market. Anybody who has a competitive advantage on all these three parameters, product, consumer experience and quality, is the one who will really be successful. That's PDQA as a function. If Madura is the only company which has a function like this, can we look for a situation where we have almost zero defect? Can we say with conviction to our consumers? We define our own system. A system which does not allow quality, rather than getting into a post-mortem sort of working where, yeah, some defect has happened and now what do we do? Integration, if PDQA starts getting more involved with the brand requirement and PDQA starts understanding it more closely, then we will have more relevant concepts which can be provided to consumer. But quality becomes almost the hallmark in the industry. What are the intervention points where there is no chance of any mistake to happen?
Right.
That's one area I really, really look forward. 3D technology.
Yeah.
Today is a buzzword, but in no time that would be a reality. I always look at it like partnering with brands rather than being a solution provider. My fits are not working. How can PDQA partner with me and telling me, okay, these are fits that will work?
The development happens in line with the brand requirements, which is why we have this brand brief exercise every season. We discuss, brainstorm and come up with ideas. So product development definitely works on those larger ideas and comes up with products which are differentiated and can become nice strong talking point. We cannot be carrying the same innovative products season on season, because fashion is about change, and bring in some elements in the product, could be in the form of some signature or something which is very difficult to do in normal means by any other manufacturing unit or by any competition, which is when we can take a leadership position in quality itself. So that is one expectation from QA team. So, technical team is basically to address the various risks which are associated in the garment construction and come up with ideas which can address those issues, so that garments are again fault-free, and the number of Kaizen that should be coming in from every individual, and that is pretty less. I think what we should actually be doing is we can set it probably in everyone's KRA that when you talk of ideas like say herbal dyes, and everyone's talking about sustainability today, and it was a good thought. It took quite a long time, but I think the final result that came was well accepted by the market. My concern is actually a lot of these complaints that come are of repetitive nature. For example, loose thread, for example, it's been there in system for almost ages. I think the problems which are of iterative nature, it is worth investing in that particular area to eliminate that particular thing completely. The challenge that brand would have is to come up with breakthrough innovations, out of the box innovation, radical innovation, the way we call it, the unseen innovations, the unheard innovations, innovation which will take the brand to next level, innovation which will give us the competitive advantage. I think when we look at tech team, I think credible job done in realizing some of the dream projects like the perfect shirts. Today we're working on perfect trouser, perfect suits, and it will again extend to other categories like shoes, belt, wallet, watches, whatever it is. The bigger thing is looking at the unforeseeable risks. How do we look at the various chemical hazards that the garment have? the basic button to a draw cord to the quality of zipper to the risks associated with the measurements not aligned with the spec that we have. I think we need to address a lot of those unforeseeable risks. We have to have a clear innovation roadmap as to what are the ways the world moving. World is getting highly tech, gadget oriented. We discussed about Internet of Things. So how can garments communicate the innovation roadmap, not just for 2020, but we should think long term, which is 2025, maybe 2030. So how the consumer behavior is going to change, and hence a consumer insight-led innovation roadmap for 2020, 2025, 2030. I think we should stagger it that way. Broadly classify, my point would be to have a strong innovation roadmap for 2020, 2025, 2030. Similarly, a strong sustainability roadmap for 2020, 2025 and 2030.
Okay.
Similarly, we should have a safety roadmap. We may be talking about fire safety at store, at factory. Customers many times don't know what they should be wanting. We should basically be educating customers a lot better. Many issues that they come up with, they don't know how to actually use the product well, which is where a lot of care guides as an example. But this is one center who are focused about developing new things, about improving the existing thing, and about challenging the various issues that are facing the organization. In this particular function today, the way it operates, it works like an aggregator, for example. Where today we don't have the support system within this particular cell that we have to create products.
Right.
We are basically taking products from what is available in the market with the vendors. We take them, we shape them as per the brand's requirements, we tweak them a bit and make it appropriate for the brand, and brand makes it big and communicates the way it wants to. When you look at the Birla Group, where we have Aditya, the sun, and the sun is radiating energy, the power, right? So idea is nothing but power. Idea to me is energy. Idea is something which is which will take us to next level.
Right.
So I think the K of KMC is where I see the power is, and above that I think we can create some sun or a fire kind of a torch, and that could become a strong logo. That is
that has gone through those processes does not deliver valuable quality to the consumer, we have to review our process. I think there is some way to go for us to improve the quality standards of the product that we are doing in Louis, especially in the outerwear, knitwear and the tailored garment. What I would be interested in is that if I've asked for something or if I've asked for a development, how closely we work together to deliver the final result. A line of herbal dyed product. Now, in my sense, that was a very visionary attempt, because it is not about the herbal dyeing, it is about sustainability. Within Louis Philippe, I don't think we have done too much work on product on sustainability. We worked on packaging and all that, which also I think PDQAT. Now we have to see how we are able to deliver it in bulk. The other area that PDQ has worked on was on the rationalizing of core fabrics for denim. 80% of them are half-baked. They don't have reality, they don't have grounding, they don't have finish. In terms of disruptive this thing, and some of those might take 2 years, 3 years, I don't know. In one point, focus and cohesive team efforts is, I think, something that we need to. You have to have consumer insight, forecast-led, fashion-oriented thinking that needs to come into the organization, and the ability to forecast 4-5 years ahead is going to become really, really important. Specifically PDQ, I think should be driven more by fashion and consumer insights. It's very important for us to align and go towards singular goals, simplify processes, encourage more human.
PDQA team should be in some sense the thought leader. For me, PDQA and tech should ideally be the guys who are at the forefront of anything that's new, anything that is seems interesting, and to bring it back into the brand world, to bring it back into how it's relevant for the company, how it's relevant for the brand. So it is this department which should understand, figure out sources, who are the pioneers who are working on this, and see in the next year how can we bring it alive in our industry, to our brands, etc. So one of the thoughts that we had in Alan Solly was how do we provide stress-free wardrobe to our consumers. That came up was, can we develop a really lightweight shirt, which is the lightest shirt perhaps in the market available. One of the things that PD developed was the Alan Solly Air shirt, which was a very lightweight shirt. It became, in some sense, a nice revenue driver for us. It gave us an opportunity to play in the retail stores as a proposition, which nobody had. Strike a chord with the consumer also, saying that these guys are offering something very different, very new, and it also seems nice. So from the thought of stress-free wardrobe to coming down to lighter shirt and actually delivering the product, which is right for the brand. PDQA coming up with a huge idea which would impact business in a large manner. Okay. Now when I say impact business, it could either mean monetary. Has there been an idea which is going to transform the brand imagery? I don't know if God's Perma Press was developed by product development. It would be nice that if there is one idea which is an all-compassing idea. It might not be just one product. It's an idea which can be developed into several products. But it doesn't have to be force-fitted. It doesn't have to be force-fitted in saying that I have an idea, so let's do one thing. You as a brand do this, which is almost like force-fitting it, saying that you have to do it. But if it is an idea which in itself is so strong that the brand is, in a sense, has no other option but to, make it bigger. One is a very obvious thing of international brands coming in, and fashion will catch up soon. The opportunity for consumer to go to different brands is huge. I mean, he'll have or she will have several brands internationally who are coming in and offering perhaps more fashionable product than what we have. So that is one, definitely. Second is PDQAT team comes in is today we struggle with our process in a sense that we never work closer to market, at least in our cycle is 10 months before market. The moment in 2020 when the market is flooded with international brands who are like the H&Ms and the Forever 21s and the Zaras of the world, who are very close to market, whose promise is fast changing fashion. We will be left behind because we are always trying to catch up. Our process doesn't allow us. This is where I think PDQA team could be very helpful in the sense that if they are tracking trends, tracking what's going to happen, and have a library and keep feeding the brands on what should be without any of those pressures. There's this team which is working on to keep it simple. I would rather not complicate it by saying that we will serve this brand in the most diverse manner, but make it simple enough for everybody to understand, and so that it becomes rooted. It becomes rooted in daily activities. If it's just bringing newness as a vision, okay, it's as simple as that. It should be imbibed in the daily activity also. The trends, one, and second, I think it's very important, is to constantly be updated on competition, international or otherwise, so that when there's an opportunity that saying that the market is moving to a certain sort of fit or a certain sort of construction, the tech team is absolutely ready. Realizing an input and then acting upon it is minimized, and keep the data ready, keep the basics ready, so that when there is a requirement, the action can be faster.
For me, I think my expectation is that how fundamentally we can relate product with the technology, and we can create a one big reason for the customer where they can come back to the retail store and then buy from us. So I believe that this customer delight is the one big idea which we have taken up, and I think should continue to do the same job.
Thank you.
So, and I think it's still it's a baby step which we have taken as a team. I think in retail, I think we can contribute a lot in terms of reduction waste. And some of the example in planned fashion, what we did was, we started rationalized using carton box, using those product boxes. Company owned store, we started taking initiative. In some of the store we already done. We've changed we should switch over from CFL to this LED. So for me, I think from retail perspective, if we are able to give a lot of technology-led product to our customer, and we are able to give them a lot of customer delight and excellence in customer services, those are the opportunities. And I always perhaps given one example to my team about just focusing on the basic thing. And for me, basic thing is just be nice. Could be a 3-word, would be resultant. It would be resultant a happy customer. I can't be PDQAT team, would be a NASA organization. Processes are there, product is being linked with the technology, but why can't we give the world best product? So